Okay, this is the electric service drop, and it's rubbing against this tree. A couple different places. You need to make some arrangements that are better than that. The electric service drop comes over here. We're on the west side of the house. The structure faces north. The drip loop going into the weatherhead service mast, call it what you will, but the drip loop doesn't have enough, isn't steep enough to allow water to drip off properly. You want water to drip off, you don't want to go up into the weather mast head. Now this is the second panel. It goes to the swimming pool, so we're going to jump around a little bit for brevity. But the meter on the west wall, power above grade, it should be sealed on 3 sides to help, as is the, and this is called the second panel. Some people call it the sub panel, call it what you will, should be sealed on 3 sides. This panel actually looks pretty darn decent, okay? But the electric conduit going to the swimming pool area, okay, that should be sealed. You think water's going to get in there? I do. This is the grounding rod. They're supposed to be completely buried into the ground. Does that look buried to you? Doesn't look buried to me. Is it sticking out a whole bunch? Not really. Is it right? No, not really. Now, an electrician might be able to measure this and find out that you got enough continuity. Okay. This is the dead front cover plate. Call it that for a reason. It's not supposed to be hand labeled. Not supposed to be hand labeled like that. Alright? It's supposed to be printed. See where it says square D on that? It's supposed to be printed. See where it says Eaton on that? That's printed. You know what it says, what it means when you got square D and Eaton on here? We got 2 different kinds of circuit breakers. 2 different kinds of circuit breakers. Alright? So, grounding rod not labeled, not buried. Mixed breakers in this second panel. So what do we learn? We learned that our service drops in the trees, we don't have enough drip loop, and our boxes should have been sealed. We learned that the grounding rod's sticking up a little bit. We also learned that we've got mixed use breakers in the second panel. That's what we learned. We learned that our conduit is loose right here, and the water can get into the swimming pool electrics. We don't want that. Nobody wants that. Got an idea. Let's get some water in the swimming pool electrical. Man, genius. Moving on along, we're inside the garage. This is the garage west interior wall. This is the main load center. This is the load center right here. At one time, this was an aluminum house. We're going to look at some circuits in here. Alright, and since these are neutrals and they're carrying current, they should have antioxidant paste on them, and they don't. The grounds don't have to. 200 amps. L1 and L2 are supposed to have protective rubber boots on them. Your main neutral coming in here should have 4 wraps of white tape, not one little puny wrap like that. If you don't know that's the main neutral to the house, then you don't belong in this cabinet. I get that, but that's it. That's safety devices. Speaking of safety devices, these are circuit breakers, and these are all square D. Yay! Some of these are called cheater breakers or stackable breakers, and the manufacturer tells us that that's okay. Manufacturer tells us that that's okay, so not a big deal. Not a big deal. What else have we got? We got white hots. If you don't know that's hot, you don't belong in this cabinet. I get that, but it should be wrapped in black tape. The white hots. And the air conditioning system. Okay. According to this panel, it's not labeled properly. AC's down here. That's white. Okay, it's hard to tell. Hard to tell because the labeling is inconsistent. We got air conditioning up here. Here we got air conditioning down there. So what does that mean? All right, cables are touching the panel cover. We got more than 1/8 of an inch gap between the cabinet and the wall, so fire can jump through there. And we got bundling. Got bundling right there. Here we go. Good home, this is Bud. So that's Nancy with senior benefits. All right, so where were we? I didn't mean to get off the track. See these screws? Sheetrock screws, really, holding the cabinet in? They're fast and they're tight, I get that. But it's supposed to be nailed in. Okay, if a tornado hits this house and blows up this garage, you've already got a bad day. We get that. Okay? But should this house experience an event like an earthquake or a tornado, the cabinet would stand a much better chance of staying in place if it was nailed in place. Nails have more shear strength. Screws are brittle. They're fast and tight and brittle. Should have been nailed in place and you'd have a fighting chance. What else have we got in here? I know there's got to be something else. I know there's got to be something else. Okay. We got open knockout at the top of the cabinet right here. And then this is called bundling. Okay, I've got a little, even the illustration I use in the inspection report is kind of apologetic. I hate discounting my work. But it's a very common faux pas. It's not right. It's not right. And the cure, you know, you're not going to get any much more, you know, I can't say you're going to get any more safety, but you're really not going to be much any safer. It's not going to change the selling price when you sell the house. Probably won't change the selling price when you buy the house. You know, so sometimes the cure is worse than the, you know, I like to take these little knockouts. So we learned that we got bundling. Learned that we got open knockouts in the cabinet. Conductors improperly entering through open knockouts. We learned that L1 and L2 don't have protective booties. We learned that the main neutral is not wrapped with white. We learned that we do not have antioxidant paste on the energized aluminum connections. We learned that we've got white hots that should interact with black tape. We learned that we got some wires that are touching the cabinet. Well, maybe not with the way it's stuck in there, huh? But if the cover was to fit properly, the wires would be touching it. We learned that the cabinet was improperly screwed into place. We learned that the cabinet was not properly labeled. That's handwriting. That's printing. So that's what we learned.